Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. This is my fourth episode in a row. We are finishing up page 28. Yes, 28. First word for today is AK-47. Capital A, capital K, dash or hyphen, 47. Right off the bat, I think we can all agree that these are very complicated or politically, socially, culturally, AK-47s are a very complicated thing to discuss. I won't go into it any more than that. This is a noun from 1962, a Soviet-designed 7.62 millimeter gas-operated magazine-fed rifle for automatic or semi-automatic fire. 7.62 millimeters is also 30 caliber or .30 caliber. The etymology says this is Russian. It is taking the A from avtomat, the K from Kalashnikova, or something like that, and the 47 from 1947 Kalashnikov automatic rifle of 1947. So I guess it was invented in 1947? I don't know. That's not very clear, especially because it said its first known use is 1962. Please explain, people. Next, we have akimbo, A-K-I-M-B-O. This is an adjective or adverb from the 15th century. 1. Having the hand on the hip and the elbow turned outward. 2. Set in a bent position, as in a tailor sitting with legs akimbo. Next, we have akin, A-K-I-N. This is an adjective from 1567. 1. Related by blood, descended from a common ancestor or prototype, which, when you think about it, we are all related from the same ancestor many, millions, billions of years ago, something like that. Yeah, we're all related. And I'm not talking about Adam and Eve, by the way. 2. Essentially similar, related, or compatible, as in his interests are akin to mine. Next we have Akita, capital A-K-I-T-A. This is a noun from 1928. Any of a breed of large, muscular dogs of Japanese origin. Next we have Acadian, capital A-K-K-A-D-I-A-N. This is a noun from 1867. 1. An extinct Semitic language of ancient Mesopotamia. 2. A Semitic inhabitant of central Mesopotamia before 2000 BC. Next, we have a word that I want to pronounce incorrectly, I think, aquavit, A-K-V-A-V-I-T. This is a variation of the word aquavit, A-Q-U-A-V-I-T. I know that in some languages, especially maybe older Latin, the V's are U's. So in this case, I think it is probably just pronounced aquavit. Next, we have A-L, capital A, lowercase l. This is the symbol for aluminum, or as the Brits say, aluminium. Next, we have A-L, all caps. This is an abbreviation for 1. Alabama. 2. American League. 3. American Legion. Next is AL dash, a prefix. It just says CAD dash. And we've come across that many times, so go back and look at that one. Next we have suffix dash AL. This is the first form of it. It's an adjective. Doesn't give me a year. Of, relating to, or characterized by, as in directional or fictional. Now we have the second form of the suffix al. It says action, process, as in rehearsal al. Now we have the third form of the suffix al and the last form of it. The definition says aldehyde, A-L-D-E-H-Y-D-E. And there's an example, furfural. Yes, furfural, F-U-R-F-U-R-A-L. The etymology is saying that this is, the al is from alcohol. Next we have A-L-A, Ayla. This is a noun from 1731. A wing or a wing-like anatomical process or part. Alar is an adjective, and alari is an adjective. Next we have ALA with a capital A at the beginning. This is an abbreviation for Alabama. For some reason, maybe you want to use 3 letters to abbreviate Alabama because we already have a perfectly good 2-letter abbreviation for it. Not sure what that's about. Next, we have ALA, all caps. This is an abbreviation for the American Library Association. Please go support your libraries. I'm not very good at doing that myself, but go do it. Next, we have Allah, A space L-A. The A can either have or not have an accent over it. This is a preposition from 1589. In the manner of. That's pretty vague. I guess it can mean lots of things, but right off the bat, I know that a la mode means with ice cream. So like pie a la mode has ice cream with it or on top of it, depending on your personal preference. Next, we have alabaster. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1. A compact, fine-textured, usually white and translucent gypsum, often carved into vases and ornaments. 2. A hard calcite or aragonite that is translucent and sometimes banded. Alabaster or alabastrin is an adjective, or are adjectives. Next we have a la carte. A, with or without the accent, la, and carte, C-A-R-T-E. This is an adverb or adjective from 1816, according to a menu or list that prices items separately. The etymology says this is French and it means by the bill of fare, F-A-R-E. Next we have a la chlor. A la chlor. A-L-A-C-H-L-O-R. This is a noun from 1970. An herbicide, C14H20CLNO2, derived from aniline and used to control grasses and broad-leaved weeds among crop plants. The etymology says that the ALA possibly comes from rearranged letters of acetanilide plus chlor, C-H-L-O-R, which is the prefix, even though it's at the end of the word. Next is alack, A-L-A-C-K. This is an interjection from the 15th century used to express sorrow or regret. Next we have alacrity, A-L-A-C-R-I-T-Y. This is a noun from the 15th century. Promptness in response, cheerful readiness, as in, accepted the invitation with alacrity. Alacritous is an adjective. The etymology says this is from the Latin alacritas, alacere, which means lively or eager. Next we have Aladdin, the name with a capital A. This is a noun from 1747, a youth in the Arabian Nights entertainments who comes into possession of a magic lamp. And I have been seeing previews for the Disney live-action version of Aladdin, and I don't know what to think. Next we have a la grecque. A-L-A, just like a la mode, a la carte. No, a la mode isn't in here. Wait, it is coming up. Just like a la carte, grecque is spelled G-R-E-C-Q-U-E. This is an adjective from 1895, served in a sauce made of olive oil, lemon juice, and several seasonings as fennel, coriander, sage, and thyme. And of course, thyme is T-H-Y-M-E. The etymology says this is French and it means in the Greek manner, a la grecque. So I guess that type of sauce is very Greek. Next we have a la king, K-I-N-G. This is an adjective from 1893, served in a cream sauce with mushrooms and pimiento or green peppers, as in chicken a la king. Next we have Alameda or Alameda, Alameda. This is a noun from 1777, a public promenade or promenade bordered with trees. This is from the Spanish from Alamo, which means poplar, Poplar. Next we have my favorite, a la mode. This is an adjective from 1641. 1 just has these synonyms fashionable and stylish. 2, topped with ice cream. That's all I need. Oh, I shouldn't admit this, but last night I had an entire pint of ice cream, and I didn't even feel guilty. It was dairy-free, it was vegan ice cream, and it was so good. So it was much healthier than a regular pint of ice cream, but damn, it was good. The etymology for a la mode says it is French, and it means according to the fashion. Now I gotta know why topped with ice cream came from according to the fashion. Maybe it was just fashionable to have ice cream with your whatever, but that's interesting. Next we have alanine, Alanine. This is a noun from 1850. A simple, non-essential crystalline amino acid, C3H7NO2. Next we have alanyl, Alanyl. This will be the last word for today. The next word is at the bottom of this page, but it goes on pretty well to the next. And these are getting to be long episodes, so I want to be done. This is a noun from 1904. The amino acid radical or residue of alanine. And that will end this episode. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Word nerds, hello. How are you doing today? This is the first time I've recorded in about a week, maybe more. First off, wanted to let you know that I have a Google Voice number that you can call. Leave me a message. I guess you can text it as well. The information is in the episode details, along with the other contact info like email and Twitter and Facebook page. Anyway, let's get to the words. First word for today is alarm, Alarm. This is the first form of it, and it is telling me it can also be alarum, Alarum. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1, it's usually alarum, and it is archaic. A call to arms, as in, the angry trumpet sounds alarum, and that is from Shakespeare. 2, a signal, as a loud noise or flashing light that warns or alerts. Also, a device that signals, as in, set the alarm to wake me at 7. Wake me up before you go. I don't know. 3, sudden, sharp apprehension and fear resulting from the perception of imminent danger. 4, a warning notice. Synonym says see the word fear, Fear. It looks like the etymology is saying this is from the old Italian allarme. It literally means to the arms. It's spelled ALL''ARME. Second form of alarm, also alarum. Again, this is a transitive verb from 1586. 1, to strike with fear. 2, the synonyms are disturb and excite. 3, to give warning to. 4, to equip with an alarm. Alarming is an adverb. Next we have alarm clock. This is a noun from 1662. A clock that can be set to sound an alarm at a desired time. Alarmism is next. This is a noun from 1842. The often unwarranted exciting of fears or warning of danger. Alarmist is a noun or an adjective. Next is alarm reaction. This is a noun from 1936. The initial reaction of an organism has increased hormonal activity to stress. We know those hormones can really mess things up. Next is alarums and excursions. This is a noun from 1605. 1, martial sounds and the movement of soldiers across the stage, used as a stage direction in Elizabethan drama. 2. Clamor, excitement, and feverish or disordered activity. Alarums and excursions. Next we have alas, A-L-A-S. This is an interjection from the 13th century, used to express unhappiness, pity, or concern. The etymology says this is from the Anglo-French, a plus las, and it means weary, from the Latin lassus, and there's more at the word lassitude. I don't know what that is. Next we have alas with a capital A. This is an abbreviation for Alaska. Kind of an unnecessary abbreviation as it is going from 6 letters to 4 letters, but there you have it. Next we have Alaskan Malamute. This is a noun from 1913. Any of a breed of powerful, heavy-coated, deep-chested dogs of Alaskan origin that have erect ears, heavily cushioned feet, and a bushy tail. And if I think of it, I'll put a link in the episode details so you can see what an Alaskan Malamute looks like. Otherwise, you can go look it up yourself. Next, we have Alaska time. 2 words. This is a noun from 1901. The time of the 9th time zone west of Greenwich that includes most of Alaska. I didn't even realize they had their own time zone, because I've never been to Alaska. Next we have alate. This is the first form, A-L-A-T-E. The emphasis is slightly more on the first syllable. This is an adjective from 1653. Having wings or a wing-like part. Now we have the second form of alate. This is a noun from 1941. A winged insect, as an ant or termite, of a kind having winged and wingless forms. Next we have alawi. This is A-L-A-W-I with a capital A at the front. It can also be alawite. This is a noun from 1930. A member of a religious sect living mainly in Syria that originated in Shiite Islam but separated from other Shiite groups in the 9th and 10th centuries. The etymology says this is Arabian Alawi from the Caliph Ali ibn Abi Talib, central figure in Shia Islam. Next we have alb, A-L-B. This is a noun from before the 12th century, a full-length white linen ecclesiastical vestment with long sleeves that is gathered at the waist with a cincture. The etymology says this is from the Latin, the feminine of albus, which means white, and it is akin to the Greek alphos, which means white leprous spot. Interesting. I'm assuming that means from leprosy. Next, we have ALB, capital A. This is an abbreviation for Albania or Albanian. Next, we have albacore. This is a noun from 1579. A large pelagic tuna with long pectoral fins that is a source of canned tuna. Broadly, any of various tunas as a bonito. B-O-N-I-T-O. Don't know what that is. The scientific name for large pelagic tuna is Thunus alalunga, and the etymology says this is from PG. I'm not positive on what that is. Albacore without the E. It is from the Arabian al-bakura, which means the albacore. And I think we'll do one more for this episode. Albanian with a capital A. This is a noun from 1579. 1. A native or inhabitant of Albania. 2. The Indo-European language of the Albanian people. C. Indo-European languages table, which we'll probably be seeing that in a long time. And Albanian is also an adjective. And with that, we will end this episode. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Go ahead, call my Google Voice number. Leave me a message to tell me how stupid this podcast is. And that's it. Thank you and goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. Just yesterday, I went through all of letter A, and I put in some post-it notes to sort of plan out what dates fall on what pages, just because I like to record these well in advance when I can. And sometimes I don't know what dates, specifically what holidays, fall on which pages. So it's good to know that I can, give a little shout out to various holidays and things and say what I think about them or something like that. So yeah, I've got a ton of post-its through the letter A, and I also found out, as long as everything goes to plan, the letter A will finish on January 16th, 2020. So we got a ways to go. All right, first word for today is albatross. Albatross. This is a noun from 1672. 1. Any of a family of large web-footed seabirds that have long, slender wings, are excellent gliders and include the largest seabirds. 2a. Something that causes persistent deep concern or anxiety. 2b. Something that greatly hinders accomplishment. Encumbrance is a synonym. The etymology says this is probably an alternative form of the obsolete alcatrace, Alcatrace, which is a frigate bird. It's from the Spanish or PG. Is that Patagonian? Is that maybe Portuguese? That would make sense. So from the Spanish or Portuguese Alcatraz, interesting, which is a pelican. So Alcatraz jail, prison, whatever you want to call it, is named after a pelican, which is from the Arabian algatas, which is a kind of sea eagle. Or we could combine that and just call it a seagull. Oh, funny. God, I just made that connection. A sea eagle is a seagull. Is there no connection between that? Clearly it's spelled differently, but there must be a relationship there. But anyway, I'm surprised there's another definition in here that I did not see, and maybe it's not official. But I feel like I've heard that when a golfer gets a par 5 in 2 strokes, that is called an albatross. Correct me if I'm wrong. I probably got that information from Mario Golf, to be perfectly honest. Don't know if they go by the official rules. But if I'm wrong, let me know. If I'm right, let me know. Otherwise, maybe I'll just look it up. But yeah, that's what I've heard. All right, moving on. We have albedo, Albedo. This is a noun, circa 1859. Reflective power, specifically the fraction of incident radiation as light that is reflected by a surface or body, as the moon or a cloud. My day job, I work as a video shooter and editor, and I'm currently working on an educational series for high school students, and albedo is mentioned in at least one of the videos. It's all about Earth and space science, so that makes sense. So they say, the albedo of a snowfield is this percentage, and the albedo of a field of grass is this percentage, and it all has to do with how the light and whatever radiation things bounce back into space. That's what I've gathered. The etymology for albedo looks like it's from the Latin, which means whiteness. It's from the Latin albus, Albus. Next, we have albeit, or albeit, Albeit. This is a conjunction from the 14th century, conceding the fact that, even though, then we have the synonym although. This is from the Middle English, and it literally means although it be. So they took although it be, and it eventually combined down into albeit. Next word, I hope I pronounced this correctly, albigenses. Capital Albigenses. This is a noun from 1580. Members of a Catharistic sect of southern France flourishing primarily in the 12th and 13th centuries. Albigensian is an adjective or a noun, and Albigensianism, that's a fun word, that is a noun. The etymology says this is from the Middle Latin. It's plural of albigensis, and it literally means inhabitants of Albi, and that is from Albiga, Albi, France. And of course, when I hear Albi, I think of the Flight of the Conchords song, Albi the Racist Dragon. Albi the Racist Dragon. All right, next is albinism. Albinism. This is a noun from 1836. The condition of an albino. Albinistic is an adjective. Did I have a dream last night that I saw an albino possum? It must have been a dream. We went and cuddled goats yesterday. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'm pretty sure I did not see an albino possum when we were cuddling goats. But there was a sheep, and there were cats, and lambs. But I'm pretty sure, now that I think about it, the albino possum was in my dream. Moving on, we have albino, related to the last one that we said. This is a noun from 1777. An organism exhibiting deficient pigmentation, especially a human being that is congenitally deficient in pigment and usually has a milky or translucent skin, white or colorless hair, and eyes with pink or blue iris and deep red pupil. The etymology says this is from Portuguese, from Spanish albo, which means white, from the Latin albus. I know for many years humans who are albino, or I guess have albinism, I'm not sure what the proper term there would be, have been looked down upon a lot, and that's obviously not right. I think we're much better than we used to be as a culture, but I'm sure in certain cultures around the world they probably still look down on people like that, which clearly isn't right. Next, we have albinotic. Albinotic. This is an adjective from 1872. 1. Of relating to or affected with albinism. So that would be they're albinotic. 2. Tending towards albinism. Next we have albion. Albion. This is a noun from before the 12th century. 1. Great Britain. 2. England. I had no idea Albion was another name for Great Britain or England. Next we have albite. Albite. This is a noun circa 1843. A triclinic, usually white mineral of the feldspar group consisting of a sodium aluminum silicate. Albitic is an adjective. Next we have album. Album. This is a noun from 1612. 1a. A book with blank pages used for making a collection as of autographs, stamps, or photographs. 1b. A cardboard container for a phonograph record. Etymology is jacket. 1c. One or more recordings as on tape or disc, produced as a single unit, as in a 2-CD album. 2. A collection usually in book form of literary selections, musical compositions, or pictures. Anthology is a synonym. The etymology says this is from Latin. It means a white tablet, and that is the neutral form of albus. Next we have albumen. Albumen. This is a noun from 1599. 1. The white of an egg. And then it says, see the egg illustration. 2 just has the synonym albumin, spelled with an I-N at the end instead of an E-N. Next we have albumin with an I-N, like I just said. This is a noun from 1802. Any of numerous simple heat coagulable water-soluble proteins that occur in blood, plasma, or serum, muscle, the whites of eggs, milk, and other animal substances, and in many plant tissues and fluids. That was a mouthful. Next, we have albuminous. This is an adjective from 1738, relating to, containing, or having the properties of albumin or albumin, both spellings. Next is albuminuria. albuminuria. This is a noun from 1830. The presence of albumin in the urine, often symptomatic of kidney disease. Albuminuric is an adjective. Next we have albuterol. albuterol. This is a noun from 1972. A drug, C13H21NO3, used to treat asthma as an aerosol or as the sulfate in tablet form. The etymology says this is probably from the AL from alpha, the BU from butyl, the ter from tertiary, and the OL from diol, DIOL. Next we have ALC, all lowercase. This is an abbreviation for alcohol. Next we have alcaic, ALCAIC. This is an adjective, often capitalized, from circa 1637, relating to or written in a verse or strophe, STROPHE, strophe? Don't know. Marked by complicated variation of a dominant iambic pattern. The etymology says this is from the Latin alcaeus, ALCAIEUS. It's from the Greek alkaikos, which is from alkaios. Geez, all various different spellings of words that sound similar. From the 600 BC Greek poet. I guess that was his name, Alcaeus? Something like that. Next word is alcaide, ALCAIDE, or ALCAYDE. This is not Al-Qaeda. Sounds similar, but that is not it. This is a noun from 1502, a commander of a castle or fortress, as among Spaniards, Portuguese, or Moors, Moors. This is from the Spanish alcaide, which is from the Arabian al-Qaid, and it means the captain. And we'll do one more for this episode. Alcalde, ALCALDE. This is a noun from 1565. The chief administrative and judicial officer or the mayor of a town in a Spanish-speaking country or region. And the etymology says it is Spanish from the Arabian al-Qadi, which means the judge. And that will end this episode. Again, I've got a Google Voice number in the episode details that you can call or text. Tell me how terrible this is or how wonderful this is, and or just to say some random crap. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. First word for today is Alcazar, Alcazar. This is a noun circa 1615, a Spanish fortress or palace. And the etymology says this is from the Spanish Alcazar with an accent over one of the A's. This is from the Arabian al-Khazar, which means the castle. And we have a picture of an Alcazar. It's a very detailed black and white drawing, and very kind of old and ornate. It's very nice. Next is Alcestis, capital Alcestis. This is a noun from the 14th century. The wife of Admetus, who dies for her husband and is restored to him by Hercules. Next we have alchemist. This is a noun from the 14th century. A person who studies or practices alchemy. Alchemistic or alchemistical are adjectives. Alchemize is a verb, transitive verb. That is from 1597, and it's to change by alchemy. Transmute is a synonym. Next we have alchemy, alchemy. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1. A medieval chemical science and speculative philosophy aiming to achieve the transmutation of the base metals into gold, the discovery of a universal cure for disease, and the discovery of a means of indefinitely prolonging life. We have learned so much since then. 2. A power or process of transforming something common into something special. 3. An inexplicable or mysterious transmuting. Alchemical and alchemic are adjectives, and alchemically is an adverb. Next we have alcid, alcid. This is a noun from 1885. Any of a family of web-footed diving birds with short legs and wings that includes the auks, moors, and puffins. Auks is A-U-K-S. Moors, not sure of the pronunciation, but it is spelled M-U-R-R-E-S. And puffins. And the family mentioned is Alcidae, A-L-C-I-D-A-E, the Alcid family. My wife and I visited Iceland last year, and we booked a tour where we got to go to this island where puffins live, and it was very cool. We didn't get super close to them, but I did have a long lens on my camera, so I got some okay pictures. My wife was just using her phone, and she got some stunning pictures just from her phone, which is absolutely amazing and shows the technology that we're living with these days. But no, I got a couple of good pictures, which was very cool. Next, we have Alcmene, capital A-L-C-M-E-N-E. And if you've been paying attention, you are probably aware that I am stumbling less through these words, the pronunciation of the words, and that's because I'm just taking a couple of seconds to look through the pronunciation before I actually read the words that I'm not familiar with. So this is a noun from the 14th century. The mother of Hercules by Zeus, in the form of her husband Amphitryon. Amphitryon. It doesn't give me a pronunciation guide for that one, so I'm guessing. Next we have alcohol. If you don't know how to spell it, it is spelled A-L-C-O-H-O-L. This is a noun from 1672. 1A. Ethanol, especially when considered as the intoxicating agent in fermented and distilled liquors. 1B. Drink, as whiskey or beer, containing ethanol. 1C. A mixture of ethanol and water that is usually 95% ethanol. 2. Any of a class of organic compounds that are analogous to ethanol and that are hydroxyl derivatives of hydrocarbons. It's a very scientific definition for alcohol, and accurate, I would assume. The etymology says this is from the Middle Latin, means powdered antimony, which is from Old Spanish, from the Arabian al-kuhul, al-kuhul, which means the powdered antimony, and that is from kuhl, Kuhl, which means coal, Kohl. And I just think it's fascinating because I never knew it and never thought of it when I was younger. But I do remember relatively recently, hearing that words like this, alcohol, algebra, etc., algorithm, are from Arab words. That's the AL at the beginning. That's not something that you think of or are aware of until somebody teaches you or you actually think about where these words came from, which is partly why I'm reading the dictionary, because I do find it fascinating. It's clearly a very, very old language, and many of our words come from it. All right, next we have alcoholic first form of it, this is an adjective from 1790, 1a, of relating to or caused by alcohol. 1b, containing alcohol. 2, affected with alcoholism. Alcoholically is an adverb. 2, alcoholic, second form, obviously. This is a noun from 1864, a person affected with alcoholism. This is a serious thing to deal with. This is, not something to be taken lightly. If you think you might be an alcoholic, if you think you've got an issue with alcohol, a dependency with alcohol, go work on it. If you know somebody, go talk to them. Deal with it. Everything in moderation. A little bit is okay if you are the type of person who can handle it. Not everybody can. Can you be trained to deal with it if you have alcoholic tendencies or addictive tendencies? Maybe. I haven't heard a lot of cases like that. I've heard of mostly when people deal with alcoholism, they just have to quit completely and can't have one drink because it will take a hold of them in a large way. So again, just, take this seriously, whether it's you or somebody you know. People abusing alcohol has tremendous problems, and nobody should have to deal with that on either side of the coin. So yeah, let's deal with it. I think I've spoken enough about alcoholism. I think, oh no, I haven't, because that's the next word. This is a noun from 1850. 1, continued excessive or compulsive use of alcoholic drinks. 2a, poisoning by alcohol. 2b, a chronic disorder marked by excessive and usually compulsive drinking or alcohol leading to psychological and physical dependence or addiction. I think the dictionary has said enough, and I don't need to add to it. Next, we have alcopop. ALCOPOP. I've never heard this, so let's find out what it is. It is a noun from 1996, and the etymology is kind of what I was afraid of that it might say. The alco part is from alcohol, and the pop is from soda pop. What is it? It is a flavored beverage containing usually 4 to 6% alcohol. So what does that mean? So we're looking at something that's 4 to 6% alcohol and has been flavored to taste good, like pop. I'm not sure if wine coolers would be part of that. Hard lemonade, possibly. There are, these days especially, there's a lot of these. I have never heard of the term alcopop, though. Personally, I love sweet things, including alcoholic drinks, so this is right up my alley, even though most people would probably absolutely despise them. But that's me and my palate. And I think we will have alcopop be the last word for this episode. The next one will be a little shorter because I wasn't completely paying attention and I went on past half of the column. So again, listen to what I said about alcoholism, or don't, and just live your life. And until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Thank you and goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. Please rate and review on iTunes or wherever you are listening to this. Contact me if you have complaints or questions or whatever. Call my Google Voice number. And of course, share this ridiculous podcast with everyone you know. First word for this episode is Alcoran, capital ALCORAN. This is a noun from the 14th century. It is archaic, and it just has the synonym Quran, Koran. So I guess Al-Quran is the old name for the Quran. The etymology is saying this is from the Arabic al-Quran, spelled A-L dash, although that looks like a double dash, Q-U-R apostrophe A-N, and that A has a horizontal line over it, and it literally means the reading. So I'm assuming Quran also means the reading or just reading, because I think al might mean the. Next, we have alcove. This is a noun from 1655. 1a, a small recessed section of a room. Synonym is nook. 1b, an arched opening as in a wall. The synonym is niche, Niche, and I think it is pronounced that way. 2 just has the synonym summer house 2. Alcoved with an ed is an adjective. The etymology says this is from French alcove, which is from Spanish alcoba, and that is from the Arabic al-Quba, Qubba, and that means the arch. Next, we have ALCS, all caps. This is an abbreviation for American League Championship Series. And next, we have Alcyonarian, and I believe that is the correct pronunciation. Alcyonarian. This is a noun from 1878. Any of a subclass of colonial anthozoans as the sea pens, having polyps with 8 branched tentacles and 8 septa. And I find that interesting, the 8 septa, because sept usually means 7, but there's 8 of them. The subclass mentioned is Alcyonaria, and the etymology says this is from the Greek alkyonion, a zoophyte, which is from the neutral, or is the neutral form of alkyonios, which is of a kingfisher. That's from alkyon, which means kingfisher, and that's from its resemblance to a kingfisher's nest. Next, we have Alcyone, capital Alcyone. This is a noun from the 14th century, the brightest star in the Pleiades. And Pleiades is spelled Pleiades. Next, we have ALD, all lowercase. This is an abbreviation for alderman. And these days we probably might as well say alderperson. Next, we have ALD, all caps. This is an abbreviation for adrenoleukodystrophy. Next, we have Aldebaran, capital Aldebaran. This is a noun from the 14th century, a red star of the first magnitude that is seen in the eye of Taurus and is the brightest star in the Hyades. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, Hyades. The etymology says this is from Arabic al-Dabaran, literally means the follower. And when I saw that it said the eye of Taurus, I so wanted it to say the eye of Sauron, which is spelled not too dissimilarly from Taurus. But moving on, next we have aldehyde. This is a noun from 1833. It has the synonym acetaldehyde, and it broadly means any of a class of highly reactive organic compounds that are analogous to acetaldehyde and characterized by a carbonyl group attached to a hydrogen atom. Aldehydic or aldehydic is an adjective. Next, we have al dente, and of course you have to say it kind of like that. AL space DENTE. This is an adjective from 1920, cooked just enough to retain a somewhat firm texture. And al dente is also an adverb. This is from Italian, or it is Italian, and it literally means to the tooth, which is interesting to me. I would love for someone to describe why it means to the tooth, or why we use that when we're cooking pasta. What does to the tooth mean? I have no idea. But yeah, getting pasta just right takes a special skill. Whenever we make pasta at home, it's, you test it after the allotted amount of time that the box tells you, because we use a box, and you test it, you put it in for another minute. You test it, you put it in for another minute. You let it cook for another minute, and eventually you get it right. But it takes a little trial and error. I haven't done the throw test. When I was younger, my parents let me do that, where you throw it against a wall or something, and I think the rule is if it sticks, it's good to go. And if it doesn't stick, you got to keep on cooking it. And then your walls are disgusting with pasta crap. Next, we have alder, A-L-D-E-R. This is a noun from the 14th century. Any of a genus of toothed-leaved trees, that's hard to say, or shrubs of the birch family that have catkins, which become woody, that typically grow in cool, moist ground, and that have wood used especially in turnery. Also, it's wood. The genus was just alnus, A-L-N-U-S. Next we have alderman. Again, alderperson maybe is better. This is a noun from before the 12th century. 1. A person governing a kingdom, district, or shire as viceroy for an Anglo-Saxon king. I wonder if there's any aldermans in your city that say that they are governing a shire. If I were an alderman, that's what I would say. 2a, a magistrate formerly ranking next below the mayor in an English or Irish city or borough. 2b, a high-ranking member of a borough or county council in Ireland or formerly in England, chosen by elected members. 3, a member of a city legislative body. Aldermanic is an adjective. The etymology is saying this is from the Old English Ealdorman, E-A-L-D-O-R-M-A-N, and that is from Ealdor, which means parent, and it looks like Eald, E-A-L-D, means old, and of course I don't know the correct pronunciation of that word, and then plus man, and then there is more at the word old. And appropriately enough, the next word is alderwoman. Thank you for that, dictionary. This is a noun from 1768, a female member of a city legislative body. Clearly, this is a much shorter definition than the previous one. Next and last word for this episode is aldicarb, A-L-D-I-C-A-R-B. This is a noun from 1970, a persistent, highly toxic agricultural carbamate pesticide, C7H14N2O2S, used against insects, mites, and nematodes. And that will be the end of this episode. And until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Next time we will start at the top of page 30. Thank you and goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. Let's get into the words. Top of page 30. First word is aldol. A-L-D-O-L. This is a noun from 1874. A colorless beta-hydroxyaldehyde, C4H8O2, used especially in organic synthesis. Broadly, any of various similar aldehydes. Aldolization is a noun. Next we have aldolase. This is a noun from 1940. A crystalline enzyme that occurs widely in living systems and catalyzes reversibly the cleavage of a phosphorylated fructose into triose sugars. What was that I just read? Didn't know cleavage was a word in science. I'll have to see what that is exactly, because I'm not going to wait another 2 years to get to that word in the dictionary. Next is aldose, A-L-D-O-S-E. This is a noun from 1894. A sugar containing in its acyclic form one aldehyde group per molecule. Next we have aldosterone, A-L-D-O-S-T-E-R-O-N-E. This is a noun from 1954. A steroid hormone, C21H28O5, of the adrenal cortex that functions in the regulation of the salt and water balance of the body. The letter A sure has a lot of scientific words. I'm very curious to see if other letters will have this many. Next, we have a word that took me many tries to figure out how to pronounce, aldosteronism. A-L-D-O-S-T-E-R-O-N-I-S-M. That is a mouthful. This is a noun from 1955. a condition that is characterized by excessive secretion of aldosterone and typically by loss of body potassium, muscular weakness, and elevated blood pressure. If you or anyone you know knows stuff about aldol and aldose, etc., let me know, because I do not understand anything that I just read for the last 5 words. Moving on. Next is aldrin, A-L-D-R-I-N. And if I remember correctly, this is the same spelling and pronunciation of Buzz Aldrin, who went to the moon. This is a noun from 1949. A very poisonous, formerly used cyclodian insecticide, C12H8Cl6. And cyclodian, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, it is Cyclodiene. The etymology says this looks like it is from Kurt Alder, his last name. I think he died in 1958, and he was a German chemist, and they added in to the end of his name. Next we have ale. Many people's favorite word, probably. This is a noun from before the 12th century. 1. An alcoholic beverage brewed especially by rapid fermentation from an infusion of malt with the addition of hops. 2. An English country festival at which ale is the principal beverage. Personally, I'm not a very big fan of beer. I just don't really like the taste. I think I have a very odd palate. But in particular, I don't like hops. So anything that is hoppy at all is not for me. I have started to drink porters a little bit. I've learned that they tend to be a little on the sweeter side. I think I've mentioned in the past, possibly, I have no idea, that I like sweet things in general, especially sweet drinks. So porters tend to work well with me. Otherwise, I just pick a cider, or sometimes a sweet wine, or a sweet cocktail, which some people might call girl drinks. Next, we have aleatoric, A-L-E-A-T-O-R-I-C. This is an adjective from 1961, characterized by chance or indeterminate elements, as in aleatoric music. Next, we have aleatory. This is an adjective from 1693. 1. Depending on an uncertain event or contingency as to both profit and loss, as in an aleatory contract. 2. Relating to luck and especially to bad luck. And 3 has the synonym aleatoric, which is what we just read. The etymology says this is Latin, aleatorius, and it means of a gambler. And that's from aleator, which means gambler, and that's from alea, which is a dice game. Next, we have alee, A-L-E-E. This is an adverb from the 14th century, on or toward the lee. And it says compare to the word aweather. That's weather with an A at the start. I don't know what the lee is. Maybe when we get to aweather, I will understand a little bit better. Next, we have ale house. This is a noun. It's also one word from before the 12th century. A place where ale is sold to be drunk on the premises. Next, we have alemannic. That is capital A-L-E-M-A-N-N-I-C. This is a noun from circa 1797. The group of dialects of German spoken in Alsace, Switzerland, and southwestern Germany. The etymology says this is from the Latin Alemanni or Alamani, which is a confederation of Germanic tribes. That is from the Germanic ala, A-L-A, which means all, plus man, M-A-N-N, which means man, and there's more at the words all and man. Next, we have alembic, A-L-E-M-B-I-C. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1. An apparatus used in distillation. 2. Something that refines or transmutes as if by distillation, as in philosophy filtered through the alembic of Plato's mind, and that is from B.T. Shropshire. I'm going to pare the etymology down. It looks like it is from the Latin or Greek ambic or ambix, which means cap of a still. Next we have alenson, Alencon, and the C has the little squiggle underneath it, and I don't know what that's called, even though I'm pretty sure I've heard it before. So I'm guessing this is probably French, because many French words have that. This is a noun from 1865, a delicate needlepoint lace, alençon. And yes, it is from France. Doesn't say what it means, because it's just their word that we took. So there's no English definition, or no English translation, I guess. Next we have aleph, A-L-E-P-H. This is a noun from the 14th century, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And it says, see the alphabet table, which is coming up. The etymology says this is from Hebrew, as we could have guessed, aleph, and it's probably from eleph, E-L-E-P-H, which means ox. And we will do one more for this episode. It is aleph null, A-L-E-P-H dash or hyphen N-U-L-L. This is a noun circa 1909. The number of elements in the set of all integers, which is the smallest transfinite cardinal number. You math nerds will know what I just said. That will end this episode. Thank you very much for listening to many words that I had never heard before or had forgotten I had ever heard before. And until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. First word for this episode is alert, A-L-E-R-T. It is the first form of alert. This is an adjective from 1618. 1A, watchful and prompt to meet danger or emergency. 1B, quick to perceive and act. 2, we have the synonyms active and brisk. And then for all definitions, it says see the words watchful and intelligent as synonyms. Alertly is an adverb and alertness is a noun. The etymology says this is Italian from the word allerta, which means on the watch or literally on the height, H-E-I-G-H-T. Now we have the second form of alert. This is a noun from 1803. 1. A state of careful watching and readiness, especially for danger or opportunity, as in on 24-hour alert. 2A. An alarm or other signal of danger. 2B. An urgent notice, as in an alert to parents about new immunization requirements, and that is from Anne Schrader. 3. The period during which an alert is in effect. And we have the third form of alert. This is a transitive verb from circa 1868. 1. To call to a state of readiness. Warn is the synonym. 2. To make aware of, as in alerted the public to the dangers of pesticides. Next we have the suffix ales, -ales. This is a noun. Doesn't give me a year, and I have noticed suffixes and prefixes often don't. Plants consisting of or related to in the names of orders of plants, as in coniferales. Next we have alurone, A-L-E-U-R-O-N-E. This is a noun from 1869. Protein matter in the form of minute granules or grains occurring in seeds in endosperm or in the special peripheral layer. The etymology says this is from, I think, German aluron, which is from the Greek. It doesn't give me the Greek word, but it says it means flour, and it is akin to the Armenian alam, which means I grind. I think that is what it is telling me. Next we have aleut, capital A-L-E-U-T. This is a noun from 1780. It is Russian. 1. A member of a people of the Aleutian and Shumagin Islands in the western part of Alaska Peninsula. 2. The language of the Aleuts. Next we have A-level, 2 words. This is a noun from 1951. 1. the second of 3 standardized British examinations in a secondary school subject used in a qualification for university entrance. Also, successful completion of an A-level examination in a particular subject, called also advanced level. And it says compare to O-level and S-level. 2A, the level of education required to pass an A-level examination. 2B, a course leading to an A-level examination. Next we have alevin. I think that is the correct pronunciation. A-L-E-V-I-N. This is a noun from 1868. A young fish, especially a newly hatched salmon when still attached to the yolk sac. The etymology says this is from the Old French alever, which means to lift up, or rear, as in an offspring. And that is from the Latin alevare, which is from levare, which means to raise. And there's more at the word lever or lever, depending on how you want to say it. Next we have alewife, all one word. First form of it. Is it the wife of someone who makes ale? I don't know. Let's find out. This is a noun from the 15th century. A woman who keeps an alehouse. So if a woman owns an alehouse and runs it, she would be called an alewife, I guess, which seems odd. Is she married to the alehouse? Maybe? I mean, not officially, but is that why we have the word wife in there? Maybe the second form of alewife will give us a little more information. This is a noun from 1633, a food fish of the herring family that is very abundant along the Atlantic coast. Also, any of several related fishes as the menhaden. Okay, well that one didn't help me with the first definition or the first form. So I might have to look up a little bit more information on that. But regarding these fish, the etymology says this is perhaps an alternative of the obsolete allows, A-L-L-O-W-E-S, which is a kind of shad. That is from the French alose, A-L-O-S-E, which means shad, I guess. That is from Old French, which is from Latin alausa. By the way, the food fish scientific name is Alosa pseudoharengus. Next, we have Alexander, spelled like the name. This is a noun from 1929, an iced cocktail made from creme de cacao, that's how I pronounce that word, sweet cream, and gin or brandy. This sounds really good to me. I want one of those right now. I think there are other drinks that have Alexander in there, and I cannot remember what they are off the top of my head. I did stupidly go to bartending school, which was first funny because I was not a big drinker, so I didn't know a ton of alcohol in general, and in fact, I think I took it right before I turned 21, and so literally a few days after I finished the 3-week course, I turned 21, and I went and I had my first legal drink. Yeah, that's a whole other story. I'm not going to get into that one. Next, we have Alexandrian. This is an adjective from 1840. 1, we just have the synonym Hellenistic, Hellenistic. 2, of or relating to Alexander the Great. Next, we have Alexandrine, Alexandrine. It can also be pronounced Alexandrin or Alexandrine. This is a noun from 1667, a line of verse of 12 syllables consisting regularly of 6 iambs with a causura or caesura after the third iamb. So if you know anything about poetry, most of that probably makes sense to you. I only know enough to know that there is a word called an iamb. Thank you, Shakespeare, for teaching me iambic pentameter, which I only slightly know of. But I'm not sure what a caesura is. Caesura. Next, we have alexandrite. This is a noun from circa 1880. A grass-green chrysoberyl that shows a red color by transmitted or artificial light. I am not sure if I said chrysoberyl correctly. It is spelled Chrysoberyl. The etymology says this is from the German Alexandrite, which is from Alexander I from Russia. He was an emperor. And the previous word, Alexandrine or Dreen, was named after Alexander the Great. Next we have Alexia, Alexia. This is a noun from 1878. Aphasia marked by loss of ability to read. And that is definitely not something that I would want anybody to have, especially me, because I am reading the dictionary to you. Maybe you are listening to this as you go to bed, and I hope you have sweet dreams as you drift softly into sleep. The etymology says this is from the Greek lexis, which means speech, which is from also legin, L-E-G-E-I-N, which means to speak, and there's more at the word legend. What is, Amazon, their thing is called Alexa. So clearly they did some research, and they picked a good name because it is very similar to this Alexia. So I'm guessing they actually did some research. Alexa is not a random name. It is clearly related to this word and the Greek word lexis, which means speech. So good on you, Amazon, for putting some thought into that. Next, we have Alpha, capital A-L-F-A, from 1952, a communications code word for the letter A. I always thought that was A-L-P-H-A, but maybe it's not. Maybe it has an F. I didn't realize. Next, we have alfalfa, a fun word to say. This is a noun from 1845. A deep-rooted, leguminous perennial plant of southwestern Asia that is widely grown for hay and forage. And the perennial plant scientific name is Medicago sativa. I need to learn a little bit more about what the Latin sativa means, because that Latin word is also related to cannabis, cannabis sativa. And so, what does sativa mean? Why is it used in both of these forms? What other plants are using sativa? I'm curious. The etymology says this is Spanish, modified from the Arabian dialect al-fasfasa, which means the alfalfa. And just because I think it is easy and silly, I'm going to try and say this word backwards. And then I will reverse it so you can hear it forwards. So, I believe it is pronounced backwards, aflafla. And forwards, it sounds like alfalfa. Moving on, alfalfa weevil. This is a noun from 1912. A small dark brown European weevil that is now a widespread pest of alfalfa in North America. The scientific name is Hypera postica. Next we have alforja, and I think that is the correct pronunciation, A-L-F-O-R-J-A. This is a noun from 1611. It says west. I'm not sure what that means, but the definition just has the synonym saddlebag. Maybe that means it's from the Old West in America, but 1611 is too early for the Old West. Not sure. But this is Spanish from the Arabian al-Qurr, A-L-K-H-U-R-J. Next and last word for this episode is alfresco, A-L-F-R-E-S-C-O. This is an adjective or adverb from 1753. It is Italian. Taking place or located in the open air. Synonyms are outdoor or outdoors. As in, an alfresco lunch, or an alfresco cafe, or dining alfresco. And the weather is getting nicer slowly but surely here in Chicago and about half of the rest of the world. And so maybe we can start dining alfresco when we go out to eat. That will end this episode. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Thank you and goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. I don't know why I'm singing, it just happened. First word for this episode is ALG. This is an abbreviation for the word algebra. I actually just randomly happened to run into my algebra teacher, 3 days ago? I was at a friend's album release party concert thing at a bar, and I won't get into how the connection goes, but my 8th grade math teacher was there, and maybe I had her for 7th grade too. But in 8th grade, I took algebra, and so that was funny. I literally don't think I had seen her since I graduated 8th grade. So that was nice to catch up with her. She was actually one of the few teachers I remembered from junior high. Next is alga, A-L-G-A. This is a noun from 1551. It can also be algae, A-L-G-A-E, or algas. I guess that would be plural, A-L-G-A-S. A plant or plant-like organism of any of several phyla, divisions, or classes of chiefly aquatic, usually chlorophyll-containing non-vascular organisms of polyphyletic origin that usually include the green, yellow-green, brown, and red algae in the eukaryotes, and especially formerly the cyanobacteria in the prokaryotes. Algal, A-L-G-A-L, is an adjective. That was a crazy long sentence. Luckily, I have a little bit of a scientific background, so I was able to pronounce all those words correctly, I think. And yeah, by the way, look up cyanobacteria. They are a very fascinating creature that lived millions or billions of years ago, and they're kind of the reason we're here, if I am remembering that correctly. They've released tons of oxygen into the air, which I think allowed us to live. But yeah, go look them up. Next, we have algaroba, A-L-G-A-R-O-B-A, or it could also be algarobo. This is a noun from 1577. 1, we just have the synonym carob 1. 2, we have the synonym mesquite, and also its pods. So I guess the pods of the carob plant is what it's maybe saying. The etymology says this is Spanish algaroba, which is from the Arabic al-karuba, which means the carob. And the second definition has a slightly different etymology, which I don't think I've seen before, and it is actually telling me that it is actually Mexican Spanish, which is, again, from the actual Spanish word. Next, we have algebra. The first word in this episode is the abbreviation for this word. This is a noun from 1551. 1, a generalization of arithmetic. Why did I say it that way? In which letters representing numbers are combined according to the rules of arithmetic. Maybe it is arithmetic in that first one. You tell me. 2, any of various systems or branches of mathematics or logic concerned with the properties and relationships of abstract entities, as complex numbers, matrices, sets, vectors, groups, rings, or fields, manipulated in symbolic form under operations often analogous to those of arithmetic. And it says compared to Boolean algebra. Algebraist is a noun. I'm guessing that's someone who does algebra. The etymology says this is Middle Latin from the Arabic al-jabr. Again, do not know the pronunciation of that. A-L-J-A-B-R. And that literally means the reduction. I think in a previous episode not too long ago I said that I had learned that some of our words are from Arabic, which I hadn't learned when I was younger. And I think I actually gave algebra as an example. So there it is. Next we have algebraic. This is an adjective from 1662. 1, relating to, involving, or according to the laws of algebra. You don't want to break those laws. 2, involving only a finite number of repetitions of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, extraction of roots, and raising to powers, as in algebraic equation. It says, compare to the word Transcendental. I wonder what the connection to transcendental is. And algebraically is an adverb. Next, we have algebraic number, 2 words. This is a noun from 1904, a root of an algebraic equation with rational coefficients. Next, we have a suffix dash algia, algia. This is a noun, doesn't give me a year, and it means pain, as in neuralgia, neuralgia. This is from the Greek algos, which means pain. Next, we have algicide, algicide. This is a noun from 1904, an agent used to kill algae. Algicidal is an adjective. Next, we have algid, algid. This is an adjective from circa 1623. Just has the synonym cold. This is from the Latin algere, which means to feel cold. Next, we have algin, algin. This is a noun from 1883. Any of various colloidal substances as an alginate or alginic acid derived from marine brown algae and used especially as emulsifiers or thickeners. And next we have alginate. This is a noun circa 1909, a salt or ester of alginic acid. Next we have alginic acid. I am sensing a pattern. This is a noun from 1885, an insoluble colloidal acid, C6H8O6, that is in the form of its salts in a constituent of the cell walls of brown algae. And by the way, the chemical letters and numbers I read there are in parentheses, and on the outside to the right there's a subscript N. So do with that information what you will. Next we have algol, capital A-L-G-O-L. This is a noun from the 14th century, a binary star in the constellation Perseus, whose larger member orbits and eclipses the smaller, brighter star, causing periodic variation in brightness. The etymology says this is from the Arabic al-ghul, and it literally means the ghoul. I kind of like that. Next we have algol again, but this is either all caps, spelled the same, or just the A is capitalized. This is a noun from 1959, an algebraic computer programming language used especially in mathematical and scientific applications. And they got the name from the first 4 letters of algorithmic, A-L-G-O, plus the L from language. Next we have algolagnia, A-L-G-O-L-A-G-N-I-A. I think this word is made up. This can't be a real word, right? No, this is a noun from circa 1900, a perversion as sadism or masochism. Well, this just took a turn. Characterized by pleasure and especially sexual gratification in inflicting or suffering pain. Algolagniac is a noun and also a fun word to say. The etymology says this is from the Greek algos, which is pain, which we read before, plus lagnia, which is lust, and that is from lagnos, which means lustful, and there's more at the word slack. How slack is related, I have no idea. That's not the first time I've said that, because sometimes those etymology things can be very interesting and surprising. So I guess my question is, how is this different from sadism or masochism? Is it more specific? Is it more general? Yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't really give that to me, so I'll have to look that up. Algolagnia. And by the way, I am not judgmental if you are into any of those things. If that's what you like, that's fine, as long as it is consensual and not hurting anybody, unless, again, they're okay with that. Next and last word for this episode is algology, A-L-G-O-L-O-G-Y. This is a noun from 1849, we just have the synonym phycology, Phycology. Algological is an adjective, and algologist is a noun. And that will end this episode. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary still. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. This is the last episode for page 30, in case you are keeping track. First word for this episode is Algonquin, capital Algonquin. This is a noun from 1625. Lots of etymology information there. 1A, an American Indian people of the Ottawa River Valley. 1B, the dialect of Ojibwa spoken by these people. 2A, a family of American Indian languages spoken by peoples from Labrador to Carolina and westward into the Great Plains. 2B, a member of these peoples speaking Algonquin languages. And by the way, the first two definitions use the spelling Algonquin, and the second two definitions use the spelling that I mentioned at the beginning. What does the etymology say? It says it is Canadian French, Algonquin. Oh, I butchered that one. Perhaps from the Malisite Passamaquoddy, which is the Algonquin languages of Maine and New Brunswick. And then there is a word, Ilacomaquick. They are our relatives, is what it says. I guess that's what that word means. So yeah, not super helpful, a little bit hard to understand there. But yeah. Next, we have algorithm. This is a noun from 1926. A procedure for solving a mathematical problem as of finding the greatest common divisor in a finite number of steps that frequently involves repetition of an operation. Broadly, a step-by-step procedure for solving a problem or accomplishing some end, especially by a computer. Algorithmic is an adjective, and algorithmically is an adverb. Next, we have Alhambra, capital Alhambra. This is a noun from 1612, the palace of the Moorish kings at Granada, Spain. This is Spanish from the Arabic al-Hamra, and it means the red house. So I'm guessing the palace was red. And if it's not, that's weird. Next, we have alias, the first form. This is an adverb from the 15th century. Otherwise called, otherwise known as. That is the definition. The etymology says this is Latin, means otherwise, and that's from alius with a US, which means other, and there's more at the word else, E-L-S-E. And the band They Might Be Giants has an album called The Else. Second form of alias is a noun, 1605, an assumed or additional name. I've never gone by any aliases, and I don't think I ever will. Next, we have Alibaba, capital A-L-I, next word, capital B-A-B-A. This is a noun from 1812. A woodcutter in the Arabian Nights Entertainment who enters the cave of the 40 thieves by using the password sesame. Where did the word sesame come from? Is that an Arabic word? Is it a gibberish word that they made up that we now use? Won't know for a long time. Next, we have alibi. This is the first form of it. It is a noun from 1743. 1. The plea of having been at the time of the commission of an act elsewhere than at the place of commission. I don't know if I read that correctly, but that sounded very confusing. Also, the fact or state of having been elsewhere at the time. 2. An excuse usually intended to avert blame or punishment as for failure or negligence. And it says synonym is the word apology, which I think is interesting. This is reminding me of something that my wife and I just watched, but there's also a podcast, so we listened to it. So there's 3 documentaries called Paradise Lost, And there's, I know the last podcast on the left has done 3 episodes about this. It's about the West Memphis 3. Long story short, it is 3 teenagers who were wrongfully convicted of murdering 3 8-year-old boys, and it took almost 20 years to get them out of jail. And one of them was actually on death row, so he was incredibly lucky to not have been put to death. But alibi, obviously came into my head because if I remember correctly, they had alibis for their whereabouts during when the crime was committed. And for some reason, the court system kind of ignored all of the evidence. And again, you'll learn all about that if you watch the documentaries and listen to the podcast. And because they ignored all that information, the facts, as we could say, they were convicted. So, moving on to the second form of alibi, this is a verb from 1909. Transitive definition is to exonerate by an alibi, furnish an excuse for. And the intransitive definition is to offer an excuse. Next, we have Alice in Wonderland. This is the 3 words that are common with hyphens in between them. This is an adjective from 1925, suitable to a world of fantasy or illusion. Unreal is a synonym. And the etymology is pretty obviously from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll in 1865. I don't think I've ever heard Alice in Wonderland used as an adjective, but I will probably start hearing it now. Next, we have alicyclic, ALICYCLIC. This is an adjective from 1891 of relating to or being an organic compound that contains a ring but is not aromatic. And it says compared to the word aliphatic, which we will be reading soon. Next is alidade, ALIDADE. This is a noun from the 15th century, a rule equipped with simple or telescopic sights and used for determination or direction as A part of an astrolabe, B, a part of a surveying instrument consisting of the telescope and its attachments. The etymology says this is from the Arabic al-idada, I think that's the pronunciation, sort of, which is the revolving radius of a circle. Next, we have the word alien, the first form of it. This is an adjective from the 14th century. 1a, belonging or relating to another person, place, or thing. Synonym is strange. 1b, relating, belonging, or owing allegiance to another country or government. Foreign is a synonym. 1c, we just have the synonym exotic 1. 2, differing in nature or character, typically to the point of incompatibility. The synonym for the whole word is extrinsic, extrinsic. Alienly is an adverb, had no idea that word existed, and alienness is a noun. Second form of alien is a noun from the 14th century. 1, a person of another family, race, or nation. 2, a foreign-born resident who has not been naturalized and is still a subject or citizen of a foreign country, broadly, a foreign-born citizen. 3, has the synonym extraterrestrial. 4, has the synonym exotic 1, which was also in our previous form of alien. And the third form of alien is a transitive verb from the 14th century. 1 has the synonyms alienate and estrange. 2, to make over as property. And last word for this episode is alienable, alienable. This is an adjective from 1611, transferable to another's ownership. Alienability is a noun. That will end this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to go get some food because I'm a little hungry. And until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of the dictionary. Here we go with another 4-episode recording session. I've got some tea, so hopefully my voice doesn't get too raw. So I know we are about a week into it when you are hearing what I'm saying right now, but happy Pride Month here in America. I'm not sure what other countries are doing. I don't know if they celebrate Pride Month this month or if they do a month or a week or anything. But yeah, for all of you who identify as LGBTQ, queer in any way, this month is for you. And like other months that we have, we live in a society where we have to celebrate these various groups for a month because they've been marginalized in some way. African Americans, women, etc., etc. And that is not the society that we should be living in. Yeah, that's what I said. No, we shouldn't be living in a society where anybody is ever marginalized. And the fact that we give different groups a month is great on the one hand. It brings a lot more light to their situations and hopefully more acceptance. Obviously, more acceptance. I mean, things have been getting better slowly but surely for all these various groups. But there should just be acceptance across the board, hands down, no questions asked. And for me, I guess I could say I'm lucky enough to be a white male, I guess cis male would be the phrase, in America, and I've never had to deal with the things that many other people have had to deal with. But I'm on every person's side, and I don't leave anybody out. Every person, every race, every country, every gender, age, whatever you want, I'm on your side. You should never be mistreated or marginalized or looked down upon in any way. And that's probably enough political talk for this episode. So let's get to the words. That's what we're all here for. First word for today is alienage. ALIENAGE, all one word. It is a noun from 1809, the status of an alien. In most cases, obviously, this is talking about people here on Earth, somebody from one country living in another country, and then, what's their status? And I'm not sure what that is. Is that the type of alien they are, like why they're there? Are they a refugee? Are they on a work visa? Maybe that's alienage. I'm not actually sure. But I don't think this is talking about Martians or Venusians or anything like that. Next, we have alienate. This is a transitive verb from circa 1509. 1. To make unfriendly, hostile, or indifferent, especially where attachment formerly existed. 2. To convey or transfer as property or a right, usually by a specific act rather than the due course of law. 3. To cause to be withdrawn or diverted. And the synonym says see the word estrange. ESTRANG. I think that would be funny if there was a Marvel character called Dr. Estrange. Alienator is a noun. Alienation is our next word. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1. A withdrawing or separation of a person or a person's affections from an object or position or former attachment. Estrangement is a synonym, as in alienation from the values of one's society and family, and that is from S.L. Halleck. 2. A conveyance of property to another. Next we have alienee. It's the word alien with 2 E's at the end. This is a noun from 1531, one to whom property is transferred. All right, next is alienism. This is a noun from 1808, and it just has the synonym alienage. Again, our first word for this episode. Next is alienist. This is a noun from 1864, and it just has the synonym psychiatrist. That is an interesting word that I'm sure does not get used very often anymore. Alienist. The etymology says this is from the French aliéner, A-L-I-E-N-E. Both E's have the accent, and that means insane. and that is from the Latin alienatus, which is from alienare, which means to estrange. Next we have alienor. This is a noun from circa 1552, one who transfers property to another. Next we have alight, A-L-I-G-H-T, the first form, intransitive verb from the before the 12th century. 1. To come down from something as a vehicle, as A, the synonym dismount, and B, the synonym deplane. 2. To descend from or as if from the air and come to rest. Synonyms are land and settle. 3 is archaic, to come by chance. Alightment is a noun. The etymology says this is from Old English, alightan, something like that, which is from lightan, L-I-H-T-A-N, which means to alight, and there's more at the word abide. Second form of alight is an adjective from the 15th century. 1 is chiefly British, and it means being on fire. 2 says lighted up. Not light it up, but lighted, L-I-G-H-T-E-D, up. I feel like we had a word similar to this earlier, because I feel like I remember something about something being on fire, but I can't remember what that was at the moment. Next, we have align, A-L-I-G-N, or A-L-I-N-E. This is a verb from circa 1693. Transitive definitions are 1. To bring into line or alignment. 2. To array on the side of or against a party or cause, as in, he aligned himself with the protesters. Intransitive definitions are 1. To get or fall into line. 2. To be in or come into precise adjustment or correct relative position. Aligner is a noun. Next is alignment. So it is just like the previous word with either spelling, with M-E-N-T at the end. This is a noun from 1790. 1. The act of aligning or state of being aligned, especially the proper positioning or state of adjustment of parts as of a mechanical or electronic device in relation to each other. 2a, a forming in line. 2b, the line thus formed. 3, the ground plan as of a railroad or highway in distinction from the profile. 4, an arrangement of groups or forces in relation to one another, as in new alignments with the political party. Next word is alike, A-L-I-K-E, the first form. It is an adverb from the 14th century, in the same manner, form, or degree. Synonym is equally, as in, was denounced by teachers and students alike. Second form of alike is an adjective from the 15th century, exhibiting close resemblance without being identical, as in, alike in their beliefs. Alikeness is a noun. The etymology says this is from the Old English onlic, which is made combining on plus lick, L-I-C, which means body, and there's more at the word like, L-I-K-E. Next we have aliment, A-L-I-M-E-N-T. It is the first form. This is a noun from the 15th century. We have the synonyms food and nutriment. Also, the synonym sustenance, as in, there was nothing there of conversational aliment. And that is from Kingsley Amis or Ami. It is spelled A-M-I-S. The etymology says this is from the Latin alimentum, which is from alere, which means to nourish. And there's more at the word old. Of all words, old. I mean, you guess you have to nourish the people so they get old. But yeah, I don't know where that comes from. All right, second form of aliment will also be the last word for this episode. This is a transitive verb from the 15th century, To give aliment to. Synonyms are nourish and sustain. That will end this episode. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, and for me as in mere seconds, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye.